The animation you're seeing on the screen is created by Claude Design with a simple prompt. And if you have created animations like this yourself, you know how much time it takes to actually create them. And if you hire someone to do that for you, you know how expensive this is to create such animations. Claude Design solves all of this. You can use those animations for storytelling, for videos, to explain technical concepts, even in a business context for presentations. And previously I have used tools like Remotion that doesn't even come close. Like the difference is so big, and I'm gonna show you. When you open Claude Design, you have several options to choose from. Prototype if you want to design landing pages, high fidelity or wireframes. Then you have a slide deck. And then you have from template, which is the one that we're interested in. And then we're going to click animation and we are going to select the default design system. We can also create our own design system, and I may show that at the end of the video, depending on how long it gets. And for project name, I'm going to say compound interest. We're going to create 3 animations in total. So we can see the pills here. We have animated video, which gives context to Claude, and we have also the design system, which gives even more context. And I'm gonna paste the prompt that I have prepared here, which says compound interest. Money earns interest, and then that interest also earns interest. A classic flat, then hockey stick curve reveals. We can see that Claude creates some design files and then creates a storyline around the prompt that I have given. Set up the boring middle and the turn, and we see that it starts creating HTML files and fonts and JavaScript and CSS. So basically anything you can animate as an SVG, Claude Design can animate it in a really beautiful way. All right, let's have a look at the animation. It says you put $1,000 in, a coin drops, and then ears start passing. The chart grows very slowly, and then it stops in the middle, and then re-renders in another format. And then it starts growing much faster. We can see some shaking and escalation point. And this is pretty much the animation that Claude Design did. And if you have worked with motion designers, you know how expensive such animations are, and you know how much time it takes to actually create them and how much skill it takes to create those animations. And I have just given a very simple prompt to Claude, and it has designed something absolutely amazing. Now we can click on the tweaks button and ask Claude to add tweak knobs so we can adjust colors or fonts or different settings of the animation. And I'm going to ask Claude to give us those options. Please add tweak knobs to give me more control over the animation. All right, Claude Design has added different controls to tweak the animation. I find it a bit unfortunate that I cannot move this bar here. We can see that there are different sections that we can manipulate. First is the principal, then the years that go by and the annual rate. And we can change the copy, we can change the color palette, and we can also change the timing of the animation, the setup, the boring middle, the explosion. So you can see that we not only have animation with a single prompt, but we can also fine tune it according to our needs. And I want to jump now to the second animations because there are other cool things I want to show you what the tool can do. And I'm going to call this stock market. I'm going to click animation again, create from template. And this time we'll be using the sketching tool to add additional context to our prompt. But now we're going to be creating a stock market chart. So I'm going to click the pen here. I'm going to click shift so I can create a straight line. I'm going to create another straight line. And then I'm going to create a stock chart that goes up like this and then suddenly just crashes. Then again, I'm pasting a prompt to ask Claude to create animation based on the sketch that I did. And it's basically animated stock market line chart on a dark background. As it reaches its peak, the line abruptly snaps and crashes straight down. And I say smooth cinematic camera motion, clean minimal grid, keep it under 10 seconds. This is something important because the previous animation took 30 seconds and it was a bit too long for me. So now I said, please keep it under 10 seconds. Again, Claude, before creating the animation, creates its storyline and then starts creating basically HTML, JavaScript, CSS, SVGs in order to implement the animation. All right, and we have our result. We can see the stock market chart, SP500. The line grows up and then sharply falls down. But I'd like to adjust the animation a bit. So I'm going to click comment here and say, I want this stock market crash to represent Adobe. So I'm curious how that would go. Claude says I'll rebrand the chart to Adobe with Adobe's red accent. And I think this is perfect. I see a text appear here, reload for new version. I'm going to click the reload button. And then we have the Adobe live chart that is going up and then just crashing. The last animation that I want to show you is an animation that is more of a storytelling motion graphic. And we're going to see how we can export it also as a video by using Claude Code. So I'm going to click animation here again. The project name would be the Shy light bulb, create from template. And I already pasted the prompt here, 3 bulbs in a row. 2 glow brightly, the middle one is dim and sad, the bright ones flicker and go out. The shy one keeps glowing steadily and the 2 other relight from its glow. Claude Design decided to go for 10 seconds animation, which I think is perfect. And then we can see also the progress on the left. I gotta tell you, those animations take maybe a couple of minutes. It's not something that's immediately available because Claude also verifies the results in a loop, makes screenshots, improves them. But pretty much the first result that you get is good enough that you can ship it. And this is our cute light bulb animation done. The shy little flame, we can see it shining in the middle and then the other 2 bulbs light up. I think this is absolutely amazing animation, something that you can definitely use in your storytelling videos. All right, we have this animation. How do we export it? So we can either share it with a teammate here, or we can also export it. And there are different formats that we can export it. Standalone HTML makes the most sense in the beginning because we can see the animation, we can record our screen and we can export the video. But also we can hand it off to Claude Code. We can click hand off to Claude Code. We can copy the command and I'm gonna go to Claude Code now. I'm opening Claude Code in the desktop app. You can use the CLI if you want. I'm gonna create a new session. I'm going to paste the command here and I'm also going to tell Claude, please export this as MP4. Claude Code is done. The MP4 file has been exported and this is in the QuickTime player. You can see that I'm going to play it and it looks pretty good to me. Now, before we go, I want to show you one last thing to address the elephant in the room. How fast do you run out of credits? We have created 3 motion graphics that are about 50 seconds. And I'm on a $200 max plan 20x and I have burned right now 28%, not of my 5-hour usage limit, but of my weekly limit. So I can create maybe 6-7 more animations like this week. But to be fair, I started at 9% now that I remember. So it means that maybe I can create 15 more animations like this per week, which I don't think is great yet, but paying to someone else to do those, I don't think that would be cheaper either. I hope OpenAI releases something like that and then they both find a way to just decrease the prices. Props to the team at Anthropic. I think this is a great product. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Idus Leschepet.